This is a MLA format sample page from a research paper. This is nothing from any of you. I took it off of the web, and you can find all kinds of other things like this. I've made some adjustments because there are things that you're told to do here that don't matter. So where you're going to see red squiggles are things that you can ignore. For instance, my formatting instructions don't say any of this stuff. Your time and date stamp is already on your document anyway, so that's fine. Alright, as it explains here, the green text boxes contain explanations of MLA style guidelines. An MLA, if you aren't familiar with it, stands for Modern Language Association, and they set the standards for how to cite sources and format in the humanities, like English. So, blue boxes contain directions for writing and citing in MLA style. Again, I'm going to limit this quite a bit. For basically, this is a research paper, so it's equivalent for you is a family history paper, but that's not a traditional research paper. But I wanted to share this with you in case you have to write a traditional research paper. So I'll explain as quickly as I can. All right, page numbers, here you go. If you know how to do headers and footers, then do it that way, and it's last name and first page, and the program will count the rest. You may use personal pronouns, I, we, us. My discretion says for the papers you're writing, it's okay. Always check with an instructor to make sure that's right. Titles are centered, written in 12-point Times New Roman. Titles not bolded or underlined or italicized. Here's where I made a difference. I just want you to put your full name here, center it. And then a little bit about the introductory paragraph should set the context for the rest of the paper. Tell your readers why you're writing and why your topic is important. Some of that is unnecessary, but when I'm seeing a couple of different things in drafts. One is, she went to school in Boston or something like that. First sentence, well, who's the she? Who is that she to you? You're writing about a relationship. You are in relationship with the people you're writing about in your family history, for instance. So don't fool around with, in this case, why you're writing and why your topic is important. That's a more traditional research paper, but context is awfully important. Thesis statement is often, but not always, the last sentence of the introduction. All right, I'm not going to say more about that, except to say that this is important in traditional research. It's not important when you're telling a story. Don't think about thesis statements when you're telling a story. Also, don't write about how your paper's organized. That's boring, and that doesn't work for the papers that you've been assigned in this class. MLA requires double spacing throughout a document. Don't single space any part of an MLA document. I crossed off this stuff. No headings. Again, that's for a traditional research paper. It's not for what you're doing here. So I just crossed that stuff out. This is all about headings and so on. There's a bit here about this is about endnotes. Again, you don't need those in here, or footnotes. Don't need those. In-text citations, probably not needed for your family history paper, and for the Born a Crime paper, you're going to do this. The only thing you're going to be citing is Trevor Noah, so this would say Noah and whatever page you're referring to. So remember that one. Next thing down here, transitions, connect paragraphs, and unify writing. Remember that even when you're telling a story, when you're telling it in writing, make sure that your movement in the story flows. Here's body paragraphs. You may have learned about them in those terms previously. This is, again, more predictable, more part of a traditional paper. Same with that traditional paper. So here is a nice example of a transition sentence. Despite the lack of, I think it starts up here. Yeah, despite the lack of information, blah. Careful about that. That kind of language can really make a story boring. I wanted to share with you how to use block quotations. But there's no need to use block quotes in your family history essay because you're paraphrasing. You're putting into your own words what you've learned through the interviews and your online sources. So this is just explanation if you want to save this to refer to it. Same with that. And same with that, but it's traditional research. Finally, the conclusion wraps up what you've been discussing in your paper. That's language for the traditional paper, but in your family research paper and anything basically that you're telling, you're going to just think about it not as a conclusion. Don't write, and so in conclusion, I have learned. Instead, just go to the end. Conclude what you're saying, but don't say, in conclusion, I would like to say. Nothing like that. You're not doing endnotes, so nothing like that. Here is what a works cited page in MLA looks like overall. I'm going to demonstrate that, talk about that a little bit more in a different essay. I think that's all. Yes, that's all we have for this video.